And welcome back to Sudden Wealth. I hope the week is going very well for you guys. Don't forget, tomorrow there's a live stream, so I hope to see many of you attending. I've already scheduled it, so you can turn on that notification bell so you know when I go live. And hopefully we'll have a full house with a lot of questions, a lot of engagement. So I thank you in advance already for all the support. Now, as you know, the only thing that I ask of you guys, if you could drop that like and subscribe, it's very helpful for the channel. So thank you very much for your support. Now, as I mentioned, this week will be extremely busy. First 2 days seem to have started well. One of the things I mentioned last week was that we should regain that 4,200 handle on the S&P as soon as possible, so we don't damage the technical picture of the chart any further than this. So far, it seems to be doing that. S&P has had, at least at the time of this recording, the futures are up above 4,200. Nasdaq also up. Russell 2000 actually doing the best. And Dow Jones also above 33,000, which is an important number. Then on the gold side, we are actually selling off. Once again, poor Peter Schiff. We've been seeing Bitcoin kind of flat. I think we are in a bit of a consolidation phase, so we had the big run up. In certain exchanges, we did correct a bit down to 32,000. And we've held that support very well because it was pretty much a short week right up, which is good. 34,500 is a very important number. As I mentioned, 42 and 45K is the next targets. And I do see a lot of rich Bitcoin wallets on the background transferring and moving around billions of dollars, not millions with an M, talking about billions. So indeed seems to suggest that some big preparations are coming for the month of November. Now, one of the few things that I would like to address here is one of the predictions that I made about the new all-time highs for Dow Jones, S&P 500, and Nasdaq 100 by 31st March 2024. I do think that possibilities are still on the table, and I do think that we're going to see some movements to the upside after the fabled month of the crash of October is finished. Now, does that mean that the stock market will have a very good appeal, at least the US market, very strong appeal for the rest of the decade? I don't think so. I actually think international will probably outperform by the end of the decade, but there's a bit of a gray area here with artificial intelligence. And the most important thing, because people sometimes consider, should I invest in diversified index funds or something like that, like the S&P 500, whatever. The question that you should ask yourself is, will I expect the money supply to continue to rise over the next decades? If the answer to that question is yes, then I think it can make sense to go into the S&P 500 or to, all world equity, whatever. Now, the key question is, for the average person, not sure if you've been noticing this, but across the board, across multiple countries, taxation is increasing and increasing further. Now we are at a point where people's direct income to be taxed is almost impossible to go much further from here. So I do believe, unfortunately, this pains me to say, we'll start seeing things in the US like, unrealized taxation. So unrealized capital gains tax and things like that, which is terrible. Because let's say that the stock market is up 10% in a year by 31st December, but then on the 1st of January, there's a 10% crash. So you go back to flat, but then you're going to pay tax on a gain that you never had. See what I mean? Like that you never actually enforced. And what's going to happen if your stocks go down? Are you going to get a tax refund? I mean, what a nightmare. But I do think the writing on the wall is governments will need to figure out new ways to tax people and the average people, which is going to make the possibilities of, becoming wealthy very difficult through the traditional mechanism. So that's why, to me, crypto is one of the last chances for average people like me to realize at least financial independence, hopefully generational wealth. We'll see if I'm right. Maybe I'm going to completely fall on my face. I do have some backup plans for that as well, but it's something that you should always consider. Unfortunately, in the world that we live in, is less important, individual earnings of a company, but it's more importantly how the money supply evolves. Sorry, let me rephrase this. It's less important the overall earnings of companies is less important than the movements in the money supply. If you don't believe me, between 2009 2021, we didn't have particularly good earnings over the decade. However, the S&P 500 went up 600%. Why? Because the money supply went up almost 600%. It's really that simple. So it all depends on what you think is going to happen on that front. Now, I think governments are risking a bit the longer dated treasuries, because I'm thinking about this from a bunch of retirees perspective, right? In the sense that, let's say the 10-year treasuries have 5%. I mean, if I have, let's say, $100 million, I'm going to make $5 million a year on interest for the time period of 10 years. I mean, with the deficits exploding the way they are, can really the US afford that kind of interest rates? I don't think so. I think it's a matter of time before we see those interest rates get cut. But is the key? Is that positive or negative? Well, over the longer term, it's positive for risk assets. But here is the key. The moment where they cut and the next couple of months, typically you have extremely aggressive corrections in the stock market. Don't believe me? Check the chart. March 2020, when they dropped the rates to zero, what happened? Stock market tanked 15% on the day. But this has happened in the past as well before. So that leads me into crypto. And the thing is, I'm already seeing an explosion of channels that will lead people into disgrace. So, for example, there was a person that asked me about GRT, right? GRT doesn't seem like a scam to me. You see, projects, we throw away the word scam on crypto far too much. A project that doesn't go well is not a scam per se. It can just be a project that didn't work out. When a company goes bankrupt, is there fraud involved all the time? Is there a scam involved all the time? No. Maybe the company is just not designed properly. Maybe it didn't attract the type of customers they expect. Whatever the case may be. So, for example, the case of GRT, people have asked me my opinion on it. Look, I think it survived fairly the test of time, but just check their ICO. Their ICO is filled with VCs. You need to understand, when the public, people like you and me, are up threefold, the VCs are up somewhere between 30 to 100-fold. You see my point? Every time you have a meaningful run on that crypto, those VCs will sell. Why will they sell? Because if you're up 20x, they are up 200 and 2000x. See what I mean? So that's why I stay away from coins which are filled with VCs, filled with pre-rounds of private allocations. Why? Because I know that as soon as that coin starts to run, the incentives to dump on the retail is so high, and there are so many VCs. So if it was only one or two, I mean, maybe you could make the case that they were in the project for the long term, whatever, maybe and then they always have these vesting schedules. But then you go back to the code and you see some multi-sig features on the contract. Not talking about GRT in particular, I'm talking about certain projects out there. And then, you get dumped on all the time and you don't understand why. There has been certain wallets of famous influencers have been doxed, have been identified, and you can see things like this, telling people to sign up for Celsius and get their bonus referral while they themselves are selling, promoting certain projects on their channels, getting paid for it, and as soon as that coin launches, start selling. There was a guy who made with this in one single wallet, because that was the only one that was doxed, made 800K plus promoting projects that basically did and died forever, dumping on their following, so telling everybody about it, promoting it, getting paid on the sidelines, private allocation, coin launches, boom, dump it for 300K, that's it, finished, made a lot of money, or their followers get destroyed. Now, I'm talking about this because this is going to explode in the next bull market, because if it's true that $6 to $15 trillion are coming into crypto, and I'll tell you why, because most people don't understand this. The Bitcoin spot ETF is very important for one single reason. It makes it very easy for players, for legacy players to come into the market with huge amounts of money. I'll give you this example. You have certain companies issuing bonds on the blockchain, and they've issued bonds on chains with admin keys. This is how bad the legacy systems are. They actually don't even know where they're launching. They're launching bonds in chains that can invalidate your coins at a whim, because they are operating under admin keys, fake DeFi. So what's going to happen with the spot ETF is that it makes it easier for people who are not so tech savvy. I mean, you know my point. Self-custody, that's the purpose of crypto. Every time you do the opposite of it, you get to be in the news for losing all your money because the exchange went bankrupt, blah, blah, blah. So a lot of people wanted to come to crypto, but they don't have the tech savviness to set up your own wallet, self-custody your assets. They want something easy. They want a convenience store. See what I mean? But then they're afraid because they read a little bit and this exchange went bankrupt, that exchange went bankrupt, that exchange went bankrupt, and they don't feel confident where to place the money. But if there are credible institutions coming in and they're going to be on top of the custodians, meaning certain exchanges, all the time, then a lot of people who are not convinced or not comfortable coming into the space will come to the space. And very importantly, that you have larger financial institutions and private equities and funds which are not authorized to own crypto, but they are authorized to own securities like ETFs. So they may have wanted exposure to crypto, could not get it, and now they can. Furthermore, stocks look a bit pricey, and they will look even more pricey if they do get to new all-time highs. Bonds look garbage. Gold is the same price as it was 2011, not even inflation adjusted. So a lot of people would actually like to have crypto in their portfolios. And here is the key. Crypto is currently a little bit above $1 trillion in total valuation. Bonds are 400 trillion. Stocks are about 200 trillion. We don't need much to move the price incredibly higher. So at the last bull cycle, April 2021, JPEGs being sold for millions of dollars, people getting paid in crypto, 100x's in every ICO and all of these things, that was when crypto was valued at $3 trillion at the peak. If 6 to 15 trillion are really coming in, this space will go ballistic. But unfortunately, that will open the door for a bunch of people on YouTube to take advantage of you. Never forget, these people are paid to promote garbage projects. They dump on your heads, they get private allocations, and they give DeFi a bad name. They are actually fake DeFi. So be very careful, because I'm already starting to see these things exploding out there. And this will get worse as crypto markets go up. You see, I came here, and first of all, I don't ask you for any money. That's the number one. Number two, so there was a point in the beginning that I was kind of called a scammer. So how can I scam somebody if I don't ask for money? It's a very weird way to scam people. And I was talking about certain projects when they were going down in price, nothing but down. And I was talking about crypto when it was not so nice to talk about it, when it was not so friendly, when it was not, as Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, puts it, Bitcoin a safe haven. The same guy who said that Bitcoin was a very good way to understand how much money laundering was happening in the world. Yeah, that's the same guy. 4 years ago. Not 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Things change, huh? In any case, guys, you've been warned. Do whatever you want. By the way, there's already some channels promoting things like leverage trading. People promoting stuff like go take second mortgages on your houses or sell your cars to buy crypto. You guys do whatever you want. I think this message that they're portraying is the very good way to destroy people's lives. There are 3 things that destroy a smart man life. Sorry, ladies, I'm talking about the men's here, okay? The 3 of them starts with an L. Ladies, liquor, leverage. Those 3 things annihilate very smart and successful men. I cannot tell you what to do because I'm not a licensed financial advisor, but I'm seeing in a lot of channels people promoting leverage trading, selling property, selling cars, getting second mortgages, loaning, getting a bunch of loans to buy crypto, to go all in crypto. You guys do whatever you think it's right, but this is the level of distraction that these people promote. Go check what happened when the fake news on Bitcoin ETF came out. You remember that? Cointelegraph? It ramped up Bitcoin, liquidated all the shorts. Liquidated means destroyed everybody holding a short on Bitcoin. Then people realized that the news was fake. It came all the way down and liquidate all the leverage longs on the way up. So one movement, up and down, liquidated both sides of the trade. This is how dangerous leverage trading really is. And when you see those wicks on the charts, that, if you don't know what it means, is people's lives getting destroyed. So if you want to play that game, go for it. Best of luck. Just understand that 90% of people lose, and the ones that win typically win a little bit. So you play the games you think are good. It would be much easier for me if I wanted to just leave off YouTube and trick people in. It would just be so easy for me to come here all day with the next 100 coin, 100x coin, every single day, a new one. Getting people destroyed along the way in most of them. But then if I get a winner, I would talk about it nonstop, and then I would sell you stuff on top of it to make you my source of passive income. This is the strategy that they have, and I don't. So once again, guys, thank you very much for your attention. I hope to see you tomorrow on the live stream. Sorry for a bit of a longer video, but a lot of things had to be covered here, and I will catch you in the next one.